film opens with Liv Rivera at the airport. She's getting ready to fly to Inuvik. But her plan has to be delayed because bad weather prevents the plane from taking off. The airport staff suggests that Liv leave the next morning instead. Liv refuses the suggestion. She begs to still be allowed to fly that same day because there's someone very important she has to meet. Unfortunately, the airport can't do anything. Rules are rules.
My plane was supposed to leave like an hour ago.
So you're kind of maybe you can call them?
No. Can you get me on a plane or not?
With a disappointed look, Liv sits silently, lost in thought, her mind drifting to childhood memories with her mother. In the middle of daydreaming, she accidentally overhears two men saying they're going to fly past Inuvik. Hearing that, Liv immediately stands up and chases after them. The two men are named Sam and George. Even though she doesn't know them at all, Liv bravely asks for permission to join their flight. She explains that her plane is grounded because of bad weather, while she has to get to Inuvik that day. Sam doesn't seem interested. He says their trip is a work trip, but Liv keeps begging, even offering a large payment to be allowed to join. Still, Sam refuses. Until finally, the small commotion catches the attention of the airport staff. Somehow that situation makes Sam change his mind, and he finally allows Liv to come with them.
I'm Liv.
Yes, sir.
During the trip, Liv tries to make conversation and asks about their job. Sam explains that they work as photographers for National Geography. He then asks why she's going to Inuvik. Liv only answers briefly that she's bored with her routine as a lawyer. When Sam tries to ask further, she avoids the question and chooses to sleep.
Waiting for anything with antlers. What brings the securities litigator? We'll try to keep it down for you.
Not long after, the plane suddenly experiences severe turbulence that wakes Liv up. Panic immediately breaks out. George tries to stay calm and control the plane, but things get worse when the plane starts to catch fire. George tells them to fasten their seatbelts because the plane is going down. The plane finally crashes into a lake. Even though they survive the impact, they're in very bad condition. Liv immediately tries to help Sam and George. Sam panics because he can't swim. Meanwhile, George suffers a severe injury to his leg after being pierced by a piece of metal. Liv asks Sam to help remove the metal from George's leg, but in his panic, Sam opens the plane door instead. Water quickly rushes in and nearly sinks the plane. In that situation, Liv still tries to help George on her own. Unfortunately, she can't remove the metal stuck in his leg, and George eventually dies from lack of oxygen. Liv swims to the surface and immediately helps Sam, who is almost drowning. After reaching land, Liv realizes that Sam is unconscious. When she checks him, it turns out his leg is also pierced by metal and he's bleeding heavily. Liv considers pulling the metal out, but Sam, who briefly regains consciousness, stops her because it could cause fatal bleeding. He asks Liv to tie his leg to stop the blood flow. Unable to bear the pain, Sam passes out again. After the bleeding is finally stopped, Liv tries to call 911 using her phone, but there's no signal. She tries Sam's phone, but it's the same result. Liv then climbs to a higher place, hoping to get a signal, but her effort is still useless.
Is anybody out there?
As it starts to get dark, Liv goes back and gathers leaves to use as a blanket. The next morning, Liv immediately checks on Sam, who is still unconscious. Not long after, Sam finally wakes up and complains about pain in his stomach. After checking him, it turns out he has very severe internal injuries.
Where's the plane?
Liv explains that their plane crashed and that only the two of them survived. She tries to calm Sam by saying that a rescue team will definitely come. But Sam says otherwise. He reveals that no one will be looking for them because no one knows about the flight. At that moment, it's revealed that they're actually not photographers like they previously claimed. Not long after that, Sam dies. Now alone, Liv plans to return to the plane wreckage to look for anything that might be useful, including a satellite phone or radio. But the freezing lake water makes her give up on that idea. Liv tries to survive by building a raft, but since she has no skills, her attempt fails and leaves her frustrated. The supplies she has are very limited, only 2 chocolate bars and 1 bottle of drinking water. Whether she likes it or not, Liv has to ration everything to survive. The next morning, she decides to go back to the plane wreckage. This time, she uses a piece of wood so she can stay afloat on the water. Once she arrives, Liv immediately dives to the bottom of the lake, enduring the freezing water piercing her body. She manages to grab her bag, then dives again to try to get the radio. Unfortunately, the radio is hard to remove. Liv decides to swim back up, but unlucky for her, her foot gets stuck on part of the plane. She struggles hard to free herself and finally succeeds just before running out of breath. As she's about to reach land, Liv is shocked to see a bear eating her chocolate. Not long after, the bear approaches Sam's body. Seeing that, Liv screams at the top of her lungs to scare it away.
No!
The bear finally leaves. Once she reaches land, Liv opens her bag but doesn't find anything useful. She then checks Sam's bag. Liv is shocked when she sees what's inside. There are stacks of cash wrapped in plastic. Another bag contains drugs. From that, Liv starts to realize why Sam had refused to let her join at first. She suspects they were actually delivering illegal drugs. That's why Sam suddenly allowed her to come along when the airport staff approached, so they wouldn't be suspected. Worried that Sam's body might attract wild animals, Liv decides to bury him. After that, Liv tries to start a fire using the money in her glasses to reflect the sunlight. Unexpectedly, the fire manages to light up. Night falls. In the silence, Liv suddenly hears a voice behind her. It sounds like Sam, but she realizes it's just a hallucination.
There's nobody coming for you. Not gonna get you fed, though. You're just as dead as I am.
The next morning, because of hunger, Liv can only lick the chocolate wrapper that the bear had eaten from earlier. She then takes a medicine bottle from the bag and fills it with river water. Since the water is dirty, she boils it first using pieces of the plane wreckage. After quenching her thirst, she tries to catch fish. At first, she tries with her bare hands, but fails. Then she makes a simple fishing tool from her earring, but it still doesn't work. Eventually, Liv goes into the forest to look for fruit. She finds some fruits she doesn't even recognize. Even though she's unsure whether they're poisonous or not, her hunger makes her desperate enough to eat them. That night, Liv throws up. It's unclear whether it's because of the fruit or because her body is already too weak. While asleep, she dreams of a bear eating the same fruit. The next morning, Liv checks the bear's droppings and finds the fruit seeds in it. From that, she concludes that the fruit isn't poisonous. Liv goes back into the forest and gathers as much of the fruit as she can. Not long after, it starts to rain. She quickly returns to the lake to collect rainwater with a bottle. As night approaches, she decides to climb the hill and mark her path with plastic rope so she won't get lost. From the top of the hill, she sees a light in the distance. There, Sam's hallucination appears again and says that the light might be coming from a town beyond the mountain. Liv decides to head in that direction.
Do you think it's a town?
I don't know, but I'm gonna find out.
The next morning, Liv prepares everything she needs and climbs the hill again to confirm the route she's going to take. Sam's hallucination appears again and says the journey could take about 4 days, and that's only if she doesn't get lost.
Here I come.
After walking for quite a while, Liv finds shoe prints. She feels very happy, thinking someone else is out there. She follows the tracks while shouting, but eventually realizes they're her own footprints. She goes back to the original spot, feeling very frustrated. Sam's hallucination appears again and says that Liv will never be able to get out of the forest, but she ignores it. For her, trying is much better than giving up. She climbs the hill again to make sure of her direction. There, she remembers her childhood when she was still in school. She recalls a lesson about making a simple compass from styrofoam and a needle. She immediately returns to the lake to make the compass, but it doesn't work. She then remembers that the needle has to be rubbed with a magnet first. She goes through her belongings but can't find a magnet, until she finally remembers Sam's watch on top of his grave. She takes the watch and rubs the needle against its magnet. This time, the compass works. Before leaving, Liv writes on a piece of wood that she was there. With full determination, she starts her journey and leaves marks along the path she takes. She hopes the marks will help if a rescue team comes or if she gets lost again. She also records a voice message on her phone. She says that she's stranded alone in the forest, feels very lonely, and is pregnant.
You're not that, but
After that, Liv puts her phone down and continues her journey. Not long after, she finds the money she had dropped earlier. Feeling that something is wrong, she checks the compass and realizes it's no longer working. She returns to the original spot. Sam's hallucination appears and says the magnet's power has run out. Even worse, she realizes Sam's watch was left by the lake. Liv plans to go back and get the watch, but Sam's hallucination keeps rambling, saying she'll never make it back to the lake. At the same time, she hears an animal approaching. She tells the hallucination to shut up. Out of fear, Liv runs and climbs a tree. It turns out the animal is just a raccoon. Not long after, Liv hears a plane flying overhead. She runs while signaling with a piece of glass, but suddenly she falls into a hole and loses consciousness. In her dream, she sees someone running wearing red clothes.
Hey! Stop that!
When she wakes up, Liv feels unbearable pain. Her leg is trapped under a large rock and her head is injured. She starts hallucinating again and sees her mother. Liv begs her mom to help her, but while smoking, her mom says that Liv will never get out of that place and will stay there with her because Liv has always been lonely. Liv starts to lose hope because she can't move the rock. Her mom blames her for everything that happened and tells her to take the medicine she brought. But Liv refuses. With the little strength she has left, she tries to push the rock until she finally manages to free her leg. Liv tells her mother's image to go away. Even though her mom begs her to stay and keep her company, Liv doesn't care. She realizes it's all just a hallucination.
You see things. You don't mean that. I need you. Make sure no one gets close enough to hurt me.
With the determination she has left, Liv decides to keep going and find a way out of the forest. After continuing to explore the area, she finally realizes she's standing at the edge of a very high cliff. She stops and looks down, trying to figure out how to climb down safely. The thought of going back into the forest crosses her mind, but before she can decide, the ground beneath her feet suddenly collapses. Liv falls off the cliff. Even though she falls quite far, she's still alive, but her condition is very severe. Her leg is broken and her abdomen is injured. The intense pain makes her lose hope. She feels like all her efforts were useless and there's no hope of surviving. In the middle of that despair, Liv remembers her father's words when he was alive, the message that always taught her to never give up, no matter how hard things get. That memory pushes her to try to get back up. With great difficulty, she grabs a piece of wood to use as support so she can stand. Liv forces herself up. She doesn't want to disappoint her father, even though he's been gone for a long time. Limping, she keeps walking toward the direction of the sunlight while enduring the pain in her broken leg. The next morning, Liv continues her journey. As her body grows weaker, she starts hallucinating again. This time she sees Danny, her boyfriend, as if he's right beside her. Liv says she feels like she's going to die there. But Danny encourages her and tells her to keep walking. Danny says he knows she's carrying their child and that he can't wait to become a father.
Wherever. I'll show
I think you'd be a good mom.
right.
That whole time.
Those words lift Liv's spirit again. With the little strength she has left, she keeps walking. The next day, while walking, Liv hears a sound that seems like a car. Full of hope, she tries to find the source of the sound. But her hope fades again. The sound is just the strong current of a river. Liv stops by the riverbank and sits for a moment. She thinks about how to cross the river in her current condition. At that moment, she hallucinates seeing her father again. He encourages her once more and tells her to keep fighting. He also gives her a stack of letters from her mother. After the hallucination disappears, Liv goes down to the edge of the river. She takes a piece of wood, then lets her body float along with the current. In a state of surrender, she lets the water carry her wherever it goes. Until finally, two men find Liv in the river and immediately rescue her.